19 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few hitters I would look to hit on the waiver wire this week. The first guy, Cron of the Colorado Rockies. So Cron, he's been red hot over the last couple weeks here, and right now his percentage is definitely going up quickly here, but he's still available in 38% of fantasy leagues. Is Cron on the season? 19 home runs, 63 RBIs, 49 runs scored, a stolen base, a 259 average, and a 369 on base. So right here, Cron, we know throughout his career he's known for his power and not really for his batting average, but a 260 average on the season for him is definitely a good number here. And Coors Field's been friendly to him in the last couple weeks here for Cron. 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, 10 runs scored, a 421 average, and a 522 on base. So right now, those numbers are out of control. And obviously, those are numbers he's not going to keep up with. But right now, you can't go out there on your waiver wire and try to use him on your fantasy team with numbers like that over the last couple weeks. So the last few games here for Cron: August 7th versus Miami, 2 for 3 with 2 runs and 2 RBIs. August 8th versus Miami, 2 for 4 with 2 homers, 7 RBIs. August 10th at Houston, 0 for 2. August 11th at Houston, 1 for 4 with an RBI. August 12th at San Francisco, 1 for 3. August 13th at Frisco, 3 for 5 with an RBI. August 14th at San Francisco, 1 for 3 with a homer, 2 RBIs. And August 15th at the Giants, 0 for 3. So right here, he's showing power. He's had a few multiple hit games as well in the last couple weeks. And hey, if he gets cold again, you drop him. But right now, while he's running red hot and could give your team a boost, you definitely give Cron an ad this week. The next hit is Lewis Brinson of the Miami Marlins. So Brinson, he's been in the news for other reasons over the last few weeks. But right here on the season, the numbers aren't great on the season, but the last couple weeks where he's really got it going is Brinson since he came back. 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, 18 runs scored, a 282 average, and a 320 on base on the season. But the last couple weeks here, he's one of the best hitters in fantasy baseball, ranked 5th in this time. 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, 13 runs scored, a 396 average, and a 442 on base. So right now, he's pretty much getting on base almost 50% of the time he is for Brinson. And obviously, we know the Marlins are out of it. They're in last place, and they're going to try to see what they got with these young kids. And Brinson was a player they had high hopes for a few seasons ago as one of the top prospects they've acquired in a trade. And now maybe he's starting to get things going in the right direction. So the last few games for Brinson: August 8th at the Rockies, 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. August 9th at San Diego, 2 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs. August 10th at the Padres, 1 for 4, an RBI and a run. August 11th at San Diego, 3 for 4 with 2 homers, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. August 13th versus the Cubs, 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. August 14th versus the Cubs, 0 for 4 with 2 runs. And yesterday versus Chicago, 2 for 4. So right here, he's putting in good games. He's playing great baseball. And right now, he's another guy we'll go out there and try to get. And he's available in 58% of fantasy leagues. The next hit is Bobby Dalbec of the Boston Red Sox. So Dalbec, he's been playing good baseball over the last couple weeks as well. But for the season, it's totally hasn't been that great. On the season for Dalbec, 14 home runs, 52 RBIs, 32 runs scored, a 230 average, and a 280 on base. But the last couple weeks, he's picked it up though. 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 379 average, and a 455 on base. So right here, maybe he's just in one of his hot streaks here is Dalbec. But if you need first base help or utility help, I think he's worth a look. And he's been on a home run and an RBI tear over the last few weeks. So August 8th at Toronto, 2 for 4 with an RBI. August 10th versus Tampa, he didn't play. August 11th versus Tampa, 2 for 3 with 2 runs and 5 RBIs. August 13th versus Baltimore, 3 for 4, a homer, 3 RBIs. August 14th versus Baltimore, 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And yesterday versus Baltimore, 0 for 4. So Dalbec, he's been a big part of this Red Sox winning 4 out of their last 5 games. And now they got a big series coming up at the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. So let's see if Dalbec could keep the power and the RBIs going in a great hitting park like that. And he's available right now in 85% of fantasy leagues. So I would give him an ad this week. The next hit is Luis Urias of the Milwaukee Brewers. So Urias, 1 week he's a good ad, 1 week he's a drop, and this week he's back on the ad list off the waiver wire. Is Urias on the season? 16 home runs, 55 RBIs, 58 runs scored, a 247 average, and a 338 on base. So those numbers, they're not pretty bad in my opinion, with only the average is a little low, but everything else pretty solid for Urias. And he's got great versatility as well in fantasy baseball. Second, third, and short in the last couple weeks for him. 3 homers, 8 RBIs, 8 runs scored, a 367 average, and a 387 on base. So right here, his on base to batting average is a bad ratio. He don't really draw walks. He swings early in the count, and he's a free swinger kind of as well, Urias. But right now, he's going out there and playing good baseball. But the only thing with him, they got a lot of decent players and infielders, like I mentioned in other videos about Urias, which could be a problem for him to be a player that you're going to count on and play every day. But right now, he's riding hot, and I would give him an edge. So the last few games for him, August 8th versus the Giants, 1 for 4. August 10th at the Cubs in a doubleheader, 3 for 6, a run and an RBI. August 12th at the Cubs, a big game, 5 for 6, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 5 runs scored. August 14th in a doubleheader at the Pirates, 0 for 4. And August 15th at the Pirates, 1 for 4. So right now, Urias, while he's playing well, I would definitely give him an ad. And he's available in 63% of fantasy leagues. But don't be surprised if, he's not playing every day once again with the amount of infielders they have over there with Eduardo Escobar, Willie Adames, Colton Wong. So he could be the odd man out on certain days and certain weeks as Urias. But right now, while he's on fire, I would give him an ad. The next hit is Mike Zunino of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Mike Zunino, one of the better power hitting catchers in all of Major League Baseball in the season. And he's still available, surprisingly, in 60% of fantasy leagues. I know he's only hitting in the low 200s, but 25 home runs under his belt is a big number, especially at the catching position. So on the season, 25 homers, 46 RBIs, 47 runs, a 214 average, and a 302 on base. But the last couple weeks here, Zunino's been red hot. 5 home runs, 7 RBIs, 9 runs scored, and he's even giving you a great batting average at 367. But his on base is the same number as his batting average in that time. So Zunino, we know he don't really draw walks. We know he's a player, though, with monster power. And right now, I don't know how you don't have him on your fantasy roster. I know I'll take the 200 batting average with the 25 home runs, especially at a weak catcher position in fantasy baseball. So Mike Zunino, the last few games for him, August 7th at Baltimore, 1 for 5 with a run. August 10th at Boston, 1 for 2 with a run. August 11th at Boston, 1 for 1 with a homer and an RBI. August 12th at Boston, 1 for 4 with a homer, 3 RBIs. August 13th in Minnesota, 2 for 4, a homer, an RBI, and 2 runs. And August 15th in Minnesota, 2 for 4 with a homer and an RBI. So Zunino, in the last 4 games now, he has a home run. And this guy, I know he's pretty much a home run or nothing. But like I mentioned, I'll take my chances with him, especially as a catcher, just to swing for the fences and help me in that category for your fantasy team. The next hitter I'll look to add this week's on waivers is another catcher, Travis Darnold with the Atlanta Braves. So Darnold, he came off the injured list after he spent 2 months on it injured. And Darnold, we saw him have a big year last year, even though I know it was a shortened season, but the Braves were confident in him and they gave him a contract after that. So on the season for Darnold, not much of a sample size, only 95 at-bats, 3 home runs, 12 RBI, 6 runs scored, a 221 average, and a 257 on base. So Darnold, another player here that obviously swings early in the counts. He's a free swinger, and he's not going to have much of a great on-base percentage in the last couple weeks here since he returned. 1 home run, 1 RBI, a run scored, 231 average, and a 286 on base. So right here, I know the numbers aren't great, but like I mentioned, he's at a weak catcher position. And right here, I think Darnold could definitely do things. He turned 3 games ago here. August 11th versus Cincinnati, 1 for 4. August 13th at Washington, 2 for 4 with a homer and an RBI. August 14th at Washington, 0 for 5. And yesterday at Washington, he had the day off. So now Darnold and the Braves here go at the Miami Marlins. And we'll see if he could get things going. But right now, he's available, Darnold, in 57% of fantasy leagues. And I definitely will give him an ad if you need help at the catcher position. Him and Mike Zunino, I don't really think you could go wrong in that area. The next hit is Rafael Ortega of the Chicago Cubs. Ortega, he's a guy I've been talking about on this waiver wire for 3 or 4 weeks now. And obviously, I know the Cubs have gutted their team. And Ortega's getting an everyday opportunity now. On the season, 6 home runs, 18 RBIs, 20 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, a 327 average, and a 382 on base percentage. But the last couple weeks here for Ortega, no home runs, 3 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 5 runs scored, a 349 average, and a 417 on base. So right there, those are very solid numbers. Obviously, he's not much of a power hitter, but Ortega is going to give you stolen bases. He's going to give you a batting average right now. And he's also going to give you runs scored. And right now, he's available in 49% of fantasy leagues. So the last few games for him, August 8th versus the White Sox, 2 for 4 with a stolen base. August 10th versus Milwaukee in a doubleheader, 4 for 7 with a stolen base. August 11th versus Milwaukee, 1 for 3. August 12th versus Milwaukee, 1 for 2 with an RBI. 13th in Miami, 1 for 1 with an RBI. August 14th in Miami, 1 for 3 with 2 runs. And August 15th in Miami, 0 for 5. So right here, he's playing good baseball. He's getting a hit pretty much every game here is Ortega, with a hit in 8 out of his last 10 games. So like I mentioned, if you need some on-base batting average run and stolen bases, Ortega's a guy to get. And every day he's going to be playing with this Cub team after they go to their roster. The next hit is Anthony Santander of the Baltimore Orioles. So Santander, he's finally getting things going after struggling pretty much the whole season. On the season, 10 home runs, 33 RBIs, 31 runs scored, a 248 average, and a 297 on base. So Santander, a few seasons ago, we saw him hit 30 plus home runs, and now maybe he's starting to get things going after struggling the whole season. The last couple weeks for him, 4 homers, 6 RBIs, 6 runs scored, stolen base, 366 average, and a 409 on base. So right now, Santander is red hot, and he's come out of nowhere over the last few weeks after pretty much I wrote him off, and probably most fantasy owners wrote him off. He's available in 56% of leagues. So the last few games here for Santander, August 8th versus Tampa, 3 for 5, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 10th versus Detroit, 2 for 4, 2 homers, 2 RBIs. August 11th versus Detroit, 3 for 4, a homer, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. August 12th versus Detroit, 0 for 3 with a stolen base. August 13th at Boston, 1 for 3. August 14th at Boston, 0 for 3. And August 15th at Boston, 1 for 4. So right here, Santander's been showing power over the last few weeks. And if you need some cheap power and a guy who's been getting on base decently and hitting the baseball, I would give him an ad. The next hitter I look to get Tyler Wade of the New York Yankees. So Tyler Wade, a super utility man in fantasy baseball. And right now he's playing good baseball for the Yankees. He qualifies at second, third, short, and outfield here is Tyler Wade. On the season, the numbers aren't great. No home runs, 4 RBIs, 12 stolen bases, 23 runs scored, a 258 average, and a 327 on base. But the last couple weeks, he's one of the best pure hitters in all of fantasy baseball. No home runs, 2 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 5 stolen bases, a 455 average, and a 500 on base. So right here, he's been getting on base half the time is Tyler Wade. And Wade, they're giving him an everyday opportunity. The Yankees, they need more hitters in their lineup like this who aren't going to be swinging for the fences. They're going to be trying to get on base, and they're going to just hit base hits and play situational baseball. And that's what he's doing right now for this team. The last few games for him, August 9th at Kansas City, 2 for 3, 3 runs, and a stolen base. August 11th at Kansas City, 2 for 3 with a run and 2 stolen bases. August 12th, White Sox in the Field of Dreams game, 2 for 4 with a run and a stolen base. August 14th at the White Sox, 1 for 4 with a bag. And yesterday, August 15th at the White Sox, 0 for 5. So right here, Tyler Wade, if you need some hitting, you need some versatility, stolen bases and batting average, I think he's definitely a good ad this week here. And he's available in still 85% of fantasy leagues. And the final hitter I would look to add on waivers this week, Frank Swindle of the Chicago Cubs. So another guy that's getting an opportunity here with the Cubs after they gutted the roster at the trade deadline, trading Chris Bryant, trading Jock Peterson, trading Anthony Rizzo, and trading Javier Baez. So Swindle here, he's been getting an everyday opportunity, and he qualifies at first in outfield in fantasy baseball, and he's available in 92% of fantasy leagues. So far in only 66 at-bats this season, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, 9 runs scored, a 303 average, and a 333 on-base percentage. Those are great numbers here for Swindle on a small sample size in the last couple weeks for him. 4 homers, 13 RBIs, 7 runs scored, a 378 average, and a 417 on base. So right now, in the early going here for Swindle, he's really impressed, no doubt about it. And he's a guy that definitely could be turning heads if he keeps his hot streak going. And now the Cubs, they go to Cincinnati, which obviously is a bandbox and obviously a great hitter's ballpark. So Swindle, he could create more damage and hit more home runs, in my opinion, in the next few games. So the last few games for him, Swindle, August 8th versus the White Sox, 1-for-1 with 2 RBIs. August 10th versus the Brewers, 2-for-6 with an RBI. August 11th versus the Brewers, 0-for-3. August 12th versus the Brewers, 2-for-2 with a homer, an RBI, and 2 runs. August 13th in Miami, 3-for-5, a homer, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 14th in Miami, 1-for-4 with 3 RBIs. August 15th in Miami, 1-for-4 with a homer and an RBI. So right now he's showing power. And right now the Cubs, they're going to give him an everyday opportunity, especially with them rebuilding and seeing what they could have for the future. So Frank Swindle, he's definitely an ad this week. So that's a few hitters I would look to add on the waiver wire here in Week 19 of the fantasy baseball season.